Good morning.
Good morning.
We're coming here this morning live for our Antioch Baptist Church. Today is the 17th, not the 24th. Sunday school teacher read the wrong lesson, and it was kind of funny that his wife had to straighten him out. Found that kind of cute. We're going to read this morning from Hebrews 11. Hebrews 11. A few things went on this week. We had a really uneventful week. A friend of mine, Brother Freddie Mills, passed away, and I went to his funeral. And if you've ever went to a funeral where that it was actually a good thing, it was a good funeral. And I didn't never think it was a such thing as a bad funeral. Is if you've ever been one with a boy and you know he's never been saved or never said anything, and they pass and leave this world, and then nobody tried to claim that he went to heaven. I've been to a funeral like that. They were squalling all over that church, worried about that child, that it came to the age of accountability and just didn't accept it. But Brother Freddie, a good friend of mine, had done a lot of things. He wasn't the greatest preacher. I feel like we was kind of kindred souls. I'm not the greatest. I'm not the best. I'm not the well-studiest. I'm not the best dressed. I only have 4 suits, and I have to change them out every once in a while. Kind of like socks. My toes cut through the sock holes and stuff. But it was good to know that he had enough faith in God that he knew that he was going to die. Every one of us are going to die. Without any doubt in our mind, we're going to die. He wrote a letter to his wife and children a few years ahead of time, but it was just awesome the way it was all set up. Good man, and I'm kind of jealous. He met my Lord before I did. I mean, just think about it. He's just going home. He had a really good time, and the funeral was good. The people cried, but it's kind of a cry that they were going to miss him, but they knew where he was. It was a good thing. I'm going to read from Hebrews 11 through 6, 1 through 6. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for and evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the worlds were formed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made things which do appear. By faith Abel offered unto God a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, and by which he obtained witness that he was righteous. God testified of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaketh. By faith Enoch was translated, he should not see death, and was not found, but because God had translated him before his translation, he had this testimony that pleased God. Number 6, but without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is rewarded of them that delighteth, diligently seek him. I didn't mark that in a color and couldn't hardly read it. This tells of a few people: Enoch, Cain, and Abel. I think if you go on farther down, it mentions Moses, of people that has faith. My point this morning is, I want to prove that we all have faith. I don't want to drag God into it. I want to leave the Bible right now and go to just a few other things that we have faith in. Faith in this world. I've seen people just go to a bank and put their money in. There are people I don't trust to give money to. My little sister, she'd spend it. She'd spend it one time before when I gave her money. She needed it, and it was all right. But we give our money to banks. We give our money to banks that are going to invest it for us. We trust them to make money for us. We take our money there. Our most prized possession in this world. Now we're backed off from the Bible. Don't take it out of context. I'm just wanting to show you world. Mechanical. You ever have a car and hit the brakes, something jumped out in front of you? Got faith in that. They'd always break down. They'll let you down. But you got faith in them brakes. You'll put your foot over there, even if you're sitting on the other side of the car where my wife sits. She thinks pounding that carpet with her right foot is going to stop that car. She's got faith. She took and done it. From the giggling I see in there, a couple of y'all have done the same thing. Tractors. I get confused. The clutch is on the left side. The diesel or fuel is on the right side, along with the left and right brake. And being dyslexic, it's really hard to drive something with more than just one pedal. But tractors, you put it in gear, you let off that clutch, it's going forward. You put it in second gear, it's going to be a little bit faster. And just 1 through 3, you shift it out. They even got, mine's got a PTO takeoff on this side, and then it's got a high and low on this side for the PTO. That way you can bush hog with not tearing everything up, or you can just turn it as wide as it'll go, or put the grandma in the gear and run the tiller with the tractor and grandma in the first, and it'll sit there and make a pretty garden. I got faith in that. I know it'll do it. You can take a shovel. If you take that shovel, take your foot on it, shove it all the way into the ground, and pull back on it, you're going to get dirt out. If you break that dirt up, aerate that dirt, and clean it up, and roll it up, and plant seeds, I got faith that it's going to grow. And I know planting seeds borderlines the Bible. So we're going to leave it on this side of the fence on that one. I'm not wanting to show you nothing else but just the world side. Hairdressers. My preacher lets his wife cut his hair. I'm not letting my wife near my neck up with anything sharp. I'm sorry. I've seen her just, okay. I've seen what she does to the dog. She shaved that dog, and that dog was ashamed to even get out and walk around. But I have faith that at the hairdresser I have picked out, and I'm picky. I'll go there once and I'll wear that haircut, but I don't want you making mistakes and messing my hair up. I want it the way I want it. And this is just world now. We're not talking about God. I'm trying to stay on the left side of the fence. I have went back and made them straighten it out. I don't like this. Why didn't you come back? Because you're a horrible barber. You do a horrible job. And I've had some really good hair cutters, and then they pass away or die, and then I just panic. Now I got to find somebody else. So I've been trying to pick a hairdresser that cuts good, that's young, that I want to pick another one. I'm going right there. I got faith in her. She's going to do exactly what I pay her to do and ask her to do. I wish Sedgy would have stayed here. I'm going to try to instigate him watching this one. Strength. I had faith in my strength at one time. There wasn't nothing that I couldn't move. I knew leverage. I knew geometry, and I knew facts about different stuff. They tell me, oh, you ain't never going to move that. But I had to cut 3 pine trees down, make a tripod, and got a chain fall, and yes, I did. I done that. Had God not provided the tree, it's hard to not let God get in this. I want to be totally one-sided just for the first little bit. Just hang in there. I moved stuff that people said can't be moved. I moved an organ 9 foot tall, 7 foot long, and 48 inches deep. The door won't even take it. The door was shorter than the thing was tall. How did they get it in there? They said they put it in there when they had the wall down. This is at USM. We got it out. You can't move that thing without wheels. It had a plywood bottom. We put 3/4 inch pipe, 4 foot long, one right after the other, got it going. You couldn't stop it. There's ways to do things physically on this earth. They built those pyramids. Aliens didn't come down here and float the rocks over there. They may have actually poured them. I've seen man-made rocks that you really just about can't tell the difference. Got faith in it. Retirement. Here's a bunch of us here. We're starting to lose our faith in this. Paid for it for 40 years now, and disability and all this other stuff. When you need it, it's going to be there. They're going to take care of you. You're going to get this and that and the other, and everybody expects the government. That's trusting the government. I trust our government. I don't trust the government for nothing anymore. It's going to fail. We have faith in death. This is where the line is fixing to be crossed, and we're going to have to drag God into it. You got faith in all this stuff we just laughed about and had a good fun with. We got faith. Whether you believe it or not, you have faith. Every person on this planet. You want to get something done, you got to have faith. Unless you're going to be a nobody in this earth, you can't say, well, I'm going to plant a field of red-eyed purple, pink-eyed purples. Well, you ain't got faith they're going to grow. You're about to mess up. You don't stay on them. You get slothful and lazy. They're going to be mostly weeds. If anything is ever done, somebody has been faithful in going and taking care of building a building. Somebody's seen it to the end. You've got to have faith. Faith is not something that was invented by God according to man. And you got to believe in yourself. And they give you these pep talks. And I went to a couple of these encouraging seminars, and they skirted the Bible just every time. It's hard not to know that every one of us is going to pass away. Saturday and the Saturday before, Saturday was a week ago, Brother Freddie Mills dropped walking through a garden. The Lord took him home. Just that quick. He didn't lay there in a bed and just rot away and get worse and worse and worse. And I don't understand why God does things. Not my job to question Him. I know that it has a reason. I really believe that the little old ladies and the little men that in there are going through tests, that God is testing them or helping a child to see something. I've seen so much faith in my grandmother laying in a bed. Couldn't get up. When I tried to move her, I'm only going to tell you half that story. I tried to move her, just barely picking up her own weight. I broke 3 ribs. I sat there and squalled with her. She cried. And I don't know why God would let such a faithful woman lay there in that bed, except Bill Bush learned some stuff. You got to be gentle. Sometimes it's not all about that. She never lost faith. She prayed 3 or 4 times a day. And I'm not talking about just a little bit of repeat after me prayer. She talked to her Lord and Master, and whom she served diligently. This faith and death. And then I'm going to go back and pick on a few other things. You know you're going to die. Well, let's get to the end of that. Tomorrow is your chance to die. Everybody, just for functionality of this conversation. Tomorrow's your last day on this earth. What are you going to do? Go hug all your kids, make sure everything, most people that are saved are going to take and go see families and say their goodbyes because they're looking forward to a new home. They're not going to the new city of Jerusalem. They're going to be around the feet of Jesus. All I can tell you is they say somebody was telling me one time they're not going to heaven. They're going to go and be in paradise, and paradise is where Jesus is at. Jesus is in heaven building the city. I don't know, but I do know it said we'll go be with Jesus. And just leave it at that. There's no sense in arguing about it. You'll be happy and content. You may not even realize you're there. We don't have enough information to go any further than we're going to be with Jesus. And that's enough. Jesus walked with me as a child. The rough time we had as children, the stepfathers and stuff, and the trash that we went through. Whenever the Lord decided that Bill needed to be saved, and I come to the realization that it was me that Jesus died on the cross. I had to have faith that Jesus would do that. I had practiced faith as a child. My daughter jumped off a refrigerator to me, and I caught her. I would throw her as high as the ceiling and then catch her. I never dropped her. I have a puppy at my shop that it would never stay away from the truck. Got run over on its foot. It's okay, it lived. But you can't get it near a car. He's got faith that truck will hurt you. He has learned him a life lesson. What I want is people to understand to believe in the Bible. If you believe in this worldly thing, I'm preaching to you a God that has made all of the heavenly things down to this. And Brother Robert this morning said that nothing we do is big to God. God made this universe. The waterfalls, and if you add up the water, that's the only way they got to saying how much a ship weighs is the displacement of the water. That ship weighs, it's not that it weighs that, has a displacement of 86,000 tons of water or whatever. It got so big they can't, I seen the Lord toss it with a wave, just bat it around. I've been in oceans, and we went through a little bitty hurricane to test the seaworthiness of an aircraft carrier, and the waves would hit the bow of that thing and it just tremble and go backwards. Not once did they back it up. Now, the propellers are still going the same way. It just shoved it backwards. You can feel it move like that. the power of God. And that was nothing in the hand of God. I mean nothing. Why won't people have faith in God? And all His faith is now, faith is a substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. I got faith that I'm going to die. Now, if you know you're going to die, why will you not give it a shot to turn to Jesus, start reading this Bible, see what it's about? You're going to die. I've seen people panic. I worked in the emergency room just a little bit, and they would panic, except drunk people. They didn't care. If they die when they're drunk, I bet they care when they get on the other side. But not that all drunks are going to hell, but just some of them. I got one note here. Oh yeah, I just want to bring it, and it's a little late. I'm going to leave it out. It's all dogs go to heaven controversy, but I've had people tell me there weren't going to be any dogs in heaven. I said, well, there's going to be a lion or led by a little child. I don't know how you're going to get there if he's going to be the only lion. But anyway, it's just neither here nor there. Faith forms consciousness. Confidence, I'm sorry. Faith forms confidence. I'm going to get it right in a minute. Faith forms confidence. If you believe in something, you have confidence in it. This is just a play on words. Faith. It's just a feeling, but I'm confident that this Bible is right. I'm confident that car will stop if everything's in line like it's supposed to do. There's no if to this Bible. It's no if Jesus came. There's been proof. They've got facts that Jesus was on this earth. The faith is that He was the Son of God. Everybody says, oh, He is a man and there's no such thing as virgin birth. Did you know bees don't have to be fertilized eggs? They just lay an egg and it'll hatch. The fertilized ones, and I don't know which way is which, the fertilized ones are females and the unfertilized are males. Turtle eggs, if there's like 15 male turtles in an area or a lizard, 15 male lizards, says one of them will drop up their body parts and make a female. God always finds a way to perpetuate whatever He's doing. You can't even see that. 15 frogs in there, and one of them decides to be a female. That species is about to die, and God says, well, I'm going to let it procreate. That one's going to be a female. You can't tell me that's nature. Dude, that's God that done that. He designed these things to do that. He knew that eventually the frogs may actually die out because of this, and He needed them to eat the mosquitoes because the mosquitoes were sucking blood. And if you let nature, and the balance of nature is so fickle, faith, God takes care of that. I don't worry if there's going to be enough mosquitoes to feed the frogs. Do you even think about things like that? We have people that study the sex life of a tsetse fly that killed me. Let's see. Faith is not fleeting. That's the other thing. I'm glad I made notes today. I wouldn't been able to go as far as I have. Faith is not fleeting. I talked with a young man years ago, and I'm not even going to try to remember his name. I thought maybe he appreciated me remembering him. But I asked him, I said, are you saved? He said, do you believe in once saved, always saved? I said, certainly I do. I believe once you're saved, if you're truly saved, if you've had true faith, you're always saved. He said, well, I was saved when I was young and the preacher told me to. And it just felt like, dude, you missed the whole conversation. Well, I was saved. They said I was. My name is on that roll. I wouldn't worry about the paper roll that Brother Robert has back in the back somewhere in the company that says Bill Bush is a member of Grace Baptist Church. That's not going to hold water. It's the name in the book of life that matters. I don't know if the guy even spelled my name right. You know, if somebody can't spell Bill, he's pretty sad off. It doesn't matter where your name's at on this earth. What matters is having faith in Jesus Christ, the only begotten Son of God. I went over in my mind about the word only begotten. There's so many books that take that out of there. I looked at it Saturday, flipped through the books, and it may have been the Saturday before. My mind plays tricks on me. And the word only begotten. Begotten means that is my son, flesh and bone. For him to be born of Mary He had to be the Father, and Joseph didn't do that. For Jesus to be Jesus Christ, He had to be the only begotten Son of God. There's no way. You've got to have faith that happened. Joseph isn't here. You couldn't ask Joseph, are you sure you didn't slip around? Yeah, I know what you did, boy. That don't happen, but that ain't the way it happened. If you got to have faith. It's a fact that it happened because I choose to believe that it happened. If you choose not to believe that it happened, decide to go to hell, you're going to do it. Somebody's like, well, what if you wake up and you're in hell? Why am I in hell? What did I do? I didn't do nothing. I lived a good life. Yeah, you did. You trampled through the blood of Jesus Christ. You didn't realize that true faith, you had that false faith. You come in and you warm them seats 15, 20 times, 3 times a day, a week, come in and sit in a church house and the preacher preached to you how to do it and you just said, okay, yeah. And you never took it and applied it to your heart and really meant it. You didn't even know if you were still a member of a church. I joined one 15, 20 years ago. I've seen them make up stories. And there's body language. I wish I could remember the body language course. They look up. When they look up and they hesitate, they're thinking. I like to say they're making up the rest of it. Old Brother Sedgy hesitated for different reasons. That's not 100% positive on that. If you're looking up and you hesitate, you may be like me and can't remember, or poor little Sedgy had to make him up a sentence this past week, and I trust him and I believe him. I have faith in Brother Sedgy. I'm not even going to throw him under the bus at that. But had another argument with a lady about everything that was 100%, either could or couldn't. I said, there's always an option to the rule. Exception to the rule. There we go. Well, what if you're saved or not saved? If you're saved or lost, there's no option. But to get saved, you got to come to the age of accountability. The men try to put a limit on that. They're going to say 14. Well, he's 14. Well, what if he didn't get saved then? That ain't when you got to get saved. It's the age of accountability, and if God doesn't cut him off, and I believe God can actually cut some people off that are so rude, obnoxious that it doesn't make sense, but what if that boy doesn't have the mental capacity? Well, then it's okay. Hence the exception to the rule. Other than that, if you come and live on this earth, come to the age of accountability, and you die lost without Jesus, you will lift your eyes in hell. And how many times will you have to say it? I don't even belong here. My mother was a good Christian. My grandpa went to church. It doesn't matter if they went to church. Grandpa said every bucket's going to sit on its own bottom. You're not going to do nothing without Jesus Christ. You have got to walk that aisle. I can't walk it for you. If I could, I would do it. I've seen a kid that fell and ran over there and I helped the baby up and I did a little magic kiss and it was perfectly better. I can't do that for salvation. There's some things you've got to have faith in. You've got to believe in what God can do. Let me make sure I haven't forgot everything before I get wound up on it. I think the last thing I wanted to do was turn to Matthew 3:1, and I'm going to wind this up and let y'all go for today. Matthew 3:7-9. That's it. Matthew 3. I usually have a mark, but I didn't do that today. Matthew 3:7-9. Here we go. And I do apologize for the notes, but I was just getting muddled and couldn't do it. But when he saw many of the Pharisees and Sadducees come to his baptism, he said unto them, O generation of vipers, who hath warned you to flee from the wrath to come? Bring forth therefore fruits meet for repentance. And think not to say within yourselves, We have Abraham to our father. For I say unto you that God is able of those stones to raise up children unto Abraham. God doesn't need you. If I've heard of, I think Brother Robert said this one. He said, I felt like there's times that if I didn't say something, the chair was going to start talking. or the rocks. I mean, I felt that before. I just had to say something. Sometimes I just had to sing. The youth sing, I can't even remember where we was at, or do and don't want to tell. It doesn't matter. The children were up there singing, and I've never seen so much pitiful, floor-looking, circling of the foot, cantaloupe, watermelon. They were just doing nothing. And they were singing my favorite song. I got up and just took over with a boisterous, just a loud singing. I told them first, I had enough of this. This is how you sing Amazing Grace. You put your heart and soul in it. I had one kid that loved to scream and holler, and everybody's like, you need to set him down. No, son, you need to leave him alone. If he's not singing to where it won't tear his voice up, whenever it does, he'll learn how to back it off a little bit. But as long as he wants to holler and praise the Lord and think he's doing it, you don't slap him in the face. You don't give him a hard time. Children are very easily to point in the wrong direction. And by the way, us church members have pointed so many children down the road of destruction to where they die and would never come back to this church. I don't want anybody to think, well, Brother Bill, he used to do this and that. And I know I've done some things wrong. I am not perfect. I have done things. It's not if I have done them. I know I've done them. We don't want the church to be the reason people don't want to come to church. There will be fruits bared. If you come into a church, and I know I'm not supposed to point this out to the person that it's happening to, and that tree has never formed any fruit, the Lord said He would dig it up. Let's see, would He destroy it? If the fruit tree does not bear fruit, He will destroy it. You had better start learning how to develop fruit of the Spirit. And I'm saying fruit, not the plural, because it's not written in the Bible as a plural. It's written as fruit, but there's different kinds of fruit. And I was going to try to have the list that I looked up, and there's like 7 of this one, 5 of that one, love, joy, peace, happiness, and then there was hateful, meanness, stinky, taters. It just had everything in it, different kinds of lists. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to talk obscure about the fruit and let that be another lesson. I've already done it one time, but you will bear fruit. If you don't bear fruit, you're not a child of God. If you're a member of that church, you've messed up. You've put your name on a roll that doesn't mean anything to nobody. That is not the true roll. You joined that building, if you might as well say, and this building is not the church. It's irrelevant of what you think about these people, but they sitting in this church house, haughty and high-minded, rude and obnoxious, sick, degrading taters, but look like great Christians. They have made a face for themselves. They're one way here, and tomorrow they're different at the outside of the church. They said when Saturday, they said, when you seen Brother Freddie Mills, you seen him there, as in a church, or out in the field, you seen the same guy. I'm glad people said that about me. When you meet him, you've met him. I'm not haughty and high-minded. I speak to the ethnics as much as I do when I'm around my white friends, as my black friends, as my brown and the yellow. And racism, by the way, racism has got to end. I use it by picking on people through the other way, picking on them with it. But it's a waste of human spirit and love. We need to pull together. Worry about lost people. Our job as a church, and let me go ahead and say this, and I know this has been kind of obscure and out of the way, but sometimes churches have to lose members to gain members. You have to just about kill one, or a lot of members have to die off before it can start growing again. A friend of mine told me, I said, how do you graft trees? He said, you cut off everything but the stump, and you add in what you want. I said, does it matter if it's a lemon or a tangerine, or doesn't matter at all. He said, they got this one tree that grows up with thorns on it, big enough to make thorns like 3 inches long. I have a couple of those because I bought them. They froze back to the stump, they come back out, they're not lemons no more. Sometimes you have to freeze dry them, kill them, leave them out in the weather. Sometimes you have to get out in this world and face what this world will do to your human soul and your spirit. Get killed back to the stump. Come back to the church and get a true graft of Jesus Christ. I was listening to a song this morning. They were singing, and the blood of the Lamb was in it. And I was thinking, I used to sing it and never even notice it. But it's only through the blood. I've heard of different people trying to take the blood out of sermons, and that's just too gory for us. And yet we'll watch TV with some of the filthiest trash on it. We don't want to go to a church. We don't want to be a hypocrite. Well, dude, you're a hypocrite already. You got to be a better hypocrite. You want to be less of one. But it takes practice and work. There's not one soul in this church that has not failed miserably at doing something. I kind of really want to pick on my wife right now about raising our kids, but it was me. I'm the one that taught them to talk ugly. I'm the one that taught them to be mean. I'm the one that done all those bad things that they do really well. It's an effort for a woman to teach them not to be rude at the table. It's an effort. And mothers do really great jobs if they can overcome the husbands. We need to take a thought about it and start worrying. What I was trying to get through, and Brother Thornton wanted me to have a point. I reckon I may have to tell him because last time he didn't figure it out. The point of this sermon is that I wanted to bring to thought that you have faith in things. Why not have faith in Christ? Thank you.